On the afternoon of June 21st, 2022, Raymond Calderon, a Sereno gang member from San Jose, California, was spending time with his grandmother and his two young boys at a community pool in San Jose, just off of Monterey Highway. Calderon had drove them all there in his grandma's red Ford F-150 pickup truck, but as soon as they arrived, things went left. Calderon became increasingly paranoid and had actually told his grandmother, quote, "I just want you to know I love you and my days are limited." He became even more agitated when the boy's mother called his grandma on the phone, asking her to bring the boys home immediately. Calderon took this the wrong way and accused his grandmother of setting him up. And he actually incorrectly believed a man in the pool's office was an undercover police officer who was there to arrest him. Raymond Calderon then announced, quote, "We're leaving now." To avoid further upsetting her grandson, Calderon's grandmother complied and sat the two boys in the back of the F-150 before seating herself in the front passenger seat. Raymond Calderon insisted on driving, refused to give his grandmother the keys, and said, quote, "You brought this all on yourself." After leaving the pool, Raymond Calderon drove to a friend's house, Freddie Herrera, located at 1450 Mount Shasta Drive in San Jose. According to people that knew Freddie and Raymond, the people said that they were actually close friends at one point and had actually made rap videos together. On the way to Herrera's home, Calderon called the mother of the kids, and suggested that they meet to exchange the kids in person. However, having a restraining order against Raymond Calderon and concerned about her boy's safety, the mother refused to meet Calderon and insisted that police be present for the exchange. Raymond Calderon threatened the mother, saying, quote, "I knew you called the police. You aren't getting your kids back. I'm going to fucking kill everybody." He added, "You fucked up, so now the kids are going to see some shit." What would take place over the rest of the afternoon was nothing short of an absolute tragedy, which shed light on the domestic violence issue that continues to plague our country, laws that do not properly protect women and children from serial domestic abusers, and how drugs and gangs can once again infiltrate a community, infiltrate the individuals inside of that community, and shows how these crimes, these acts of extreme violence, do not just directly affect the victims, but the children, the family members, the loved ones, and the community as a whole.
What's the gun? Hey, Lee, where's the gun? Hang down the pass. Where's the gun at? Where's the gun at? The perfect gun. Hey, Walsh, found over here. Come and join that thing. Bureau, sit here. You're going to hold. That's in there. Drop the weapon and pull forward. Raymond, drop the weapon and pull forward. Raymond, if you want help, you need to drop the weapon and pull forward. Drop the weapon now and pull to the front of the house. We'll bang it in a second. Okay. You got the gun in his hand. Drop the weapon and crawl to the front of the house. What's that? We'll bang in a second. Yeah. We'll toss the bang and the initiative. See if we get some action. Okay. Yeah. I'll watch him from here. Raymond, drop the weapon and crawl to the front of the house. I'm going to drop a bang on him. See if he Raymond! Drop the weapon! Drop a bang and crawl to the front of the house now.
Double homicide is dead after being shot by San Jose police following an hours-long standoff. Investigators say that the suspect shot and killed a man in San Jose before traveling to Modesto, where he shot and killed 29-year-old Michelle Gonzalez last night. Fox 40's Christy Gross was able to talk with Gonzalez's family about that loss.
The family says she will be missed and that their lives will never be the same. The scene here has cleared, but the investigation is ongoing. Detectives are looking into the motive and any possible connection between the victim in San Jose and here in Modesto.
She was very loving, very sweet.
Michelle Gonzalez, a beloved mother, daughter, sister, and friend, was shot and killed outside her Modesto home Tuesday night.
I have no words. I'm speechless.
In a phone interview, Michelle's mother, Annette Meras, says their lives have been flipped upside down.
She loved everybody. She always looked out for people. She was a loving mother. She loved her kids.
Modesto police say the 29-year-old was shot multiple times. Michelle's 6-month-old son and 10-year-old daughter, who called 911, were inside the home on the 500 block of Ramsey Drive at the time.
That's hard to understand, how her kids are going to be able to continue in this world without her. Because she gave her children a lot of love.
Her sister-in-law, Norma Gonzalez, describes Michelle as a genuine person with a beautiful soul. The family confirms the suspect was Michelle's ex-boyfriend and father of her infant son.
What he did to Michelle, and I'm going to tell you, Michelle was like the sweetest girl. She was innocent, and she had a genuine heart, and she didn't deserve to go out like that.
Regardless of their relationship, it's quite a tragedy for her family. We understand that she has children. We're seeing that on social media, and it's just really a sad situation, and it's sad for the community.
Modesto police say they quickly determined the suspect was also wanted by detectives for a shooting in San Jose.
We later learned through the investigation that the potential suspect in this incident was also a suspect for a San Jose homicide that had occurred a couple hours earlier in the day.
Modesto police say the suspect was spotted Wednesday morning traveling towards the Bay Area and led CHP on a chase to a San Jose neighborhood where he barricaded himself in the backyard of a home.
And that they were involved in an officer-involved shooting with him.
According to San Jose police, the suspect fired shots at officers during the standoff, who eventually returned fire, shooting the suspect, who was taken to the hospital and later died.
It's God's will, but either way, I hope he suffers in hell.
2 families, 2 cities, now linked by tragedy and violence. Michelle's family says they send their condolences to the other family in this case. In Modesto, Christy Gross, Fox 40.
This morning, police shot a murder suspect following a standoff. Just moments ago, police held a briefing.
KBX 5's Ann Makovic joins us now with the latest on this. Ann, what can you tell us?
Yeah, and that murder suspect is now dead. He died this morning after being shot by police, and he was suspected in at least 2 murders in a crime spree that lasted about 24 hours. I want to back you up here and start where this began at around 7 o'clock last night. That is when police say this man shot another man on Mount Shasta Drive in San Jose, just across the street from Mount Pleasant Elementary School. That man who was shot died early this morning. No word on a motive in that shooting. And then police say the shooter went to Modesto and killed a woman. That happened about 2 hours after the first shooting on Ramsey Drive. Her name has not been released, not anything about their relationship either. So a lot of questions there. Police just say that she was 29 years old. So the CHP ended up chasing the suspect as he traveled back to San Jose last night. At one point, he had a woman and 2 children in the car with him, and then he let them out. Then later crashed the car in San Jose and headed to a home on Bengsdorf Drive. That is where we saw the standoff. He barricaded himself into a shed in the yard early this morning. Officers say he fired a gun at them during the chase and then fired more shots from that property as police surrounded it, and then pointed a gun at a special operations officer. That is when police shot him.
We do want to share and send condolences to all of the people that were involved with this tragic series of events. We are also very, very lucky and thankful that none of our officers were shot, were hit, or were injured.
Again, a lot of questions about the people that were in the car with him during the chase between Modesto and San Jose, a woman and 2 children. Police also say he was involved in some sort of domestic disturbance with his own family earlier in the day. So a lot of questions here. We're going to stay on top of it.
More about a shooting in San Jose involving police and a suspect who is being investigated for 2 homicides. Late today, the police department released never-before-seen video of the incident. KTVU's Mark Sayers live in San Jose outside police headquarters where a news conference just wrapped up. Mark.
Well, Christina, San Jose Police Chief Anthony Mata said his officers had no choice but to shoot the suspect who came bursting out of a shed carrying a handgun. And he also released some new details in this crime spree that spanned from San Jose all the way to Modesto. This video provided by the San Jose Police Department shows the suspect, Raymond Calderon, running out of a shed in which he was hiding, carrying what turned out to be a stolen gun. It was shortly after this video was taken that Calderon pointed that weapon at tactical officers who had been involved in a standoff with him overnight.
At approximately 7:22 a.m., the suspect ran out of the shed and raced toward the perimeter officers.
And Chief Mata says that's when officers first saw the gun in Calderon's right hand.
Calderon ran towards officers surrounding the house and raised and pointed the gun at Special Operations officer. 2 officers fired their weapons at the suspect, striking him twice.
This entire situation began Tuesday afternoon when police received their first 911 call from the mother of 2 of Calderon's children. Calderon had the kids, ages 6 and 7, in his truck with him and his own grandmother. Police say Calderon had the 3 stay in his truck when he allegedly first killed a man whom police say he knew on Mount Shasta Drive in East San Jose. Police say he then traveled to Modesto, where he killed the mother of another of his children, 29-year-old Michelle Gonzalez. Calderon was then chased by CHP as he returned to San Jose, forcing his children and his grandmother out of his truck in Gilroy.
Calderon's grandmother had 2 black eyes and stated that she was pistol whipped by Calderon.
Mata says Calderon then tried to break into several houses near Round Table and Bendorf Drive in South San Jose before finally holing up in an unlocked shed.
Suspect Calderon senselessly killed 2 people, and when finally confronted by the San Jose Police Department in a highly populated neighborhood, he opened fire on them as a last-ditch effort to escape.
San Jose Mayor Sam Liccardo says it is a very sad episode for all involved.
I applaud the patient and courageous efforts of San Jose police officers that prevented Raymond Calderon from inflicting an even more horrific toll than the 2 lives he had already taken.
There are still many unanswered questions, including what was the exact relationship between Calderon and the first person that he killed here in San Jose. The 2 officers that were involved in this shooting have both been placed on administrative leave. They both were wearing body-worn cameras. Those cameras were on, and we're told the video will be released in the next several weeks. Reporting live at San Jose Police Headquarters, I'm Mark Sayer, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
Something we will definitely be following up on, Mark. Thank you.
San Jose police releasing new details about this week's deadly officer-involved shooting of a double murder suspect. It all began Tuesday night after police found a man shot on Mount Shasta Drive. He later died, and investigators say the suspect, Raymond Calderon, then drove to Modesto where he shot and killed his second victim, a 29-year-old woman. On Wednesday, San Jose police found Calderon hiding in a shed behind a home near Edenvale Elementary School. After a 7-hour standoff, the police chief says Calderon, armed with a gun, raced out of the shed toward 2 officers who opened fire, killing him.
The suspect was observed with a gun in his right hand and was given several commands to drop the gun. Calderon ran towards officers surrounding the house and raised and pointed the gun at Special Operations officer. 2 officers fired their weapons at the suspect, striking him twice.
Chief Mata says police found 2 stolen firearms at the scene. He says it's not clear what Calderon's motive was for the double killing, but says it did involve a domestic violence.
Suspect! Shot away! Coming out, hey. Tell him to slow down. Hey! Come here! Drop the weapon! Drop the weapon now! Come here! Come on! Drop the weapon! Drop the weapon! Wait a minute! Drop the weapon now!
San Jose, 81, 80, A-side, shots away.
What's going on, you guys? Welcome back. Another episode of Green Lit Gang TV. Much love, much appreciation. Thank you guys for checking out today's channel. Hopefully you're hearing this the day before Thanksgiving, which is the day I made the video. If YouTube's going to make me wait for clearance, maybe you're hearing it the day of Thanksgiving. But regardless, we're going to jump right into it here. So, San Jose, California. It's located in Santa Clara County, and this is where our story takes place. So on June 21st, 2022, Raymond Calderon, while under the influence of multiple illegal drugs, kidnaps his grandma and his two sons from that community pool we talked about in the intro, just off Monterey Highway. They're in the grandma's red F-150, and I was able to find a picture of it. Now, really quick, before we go any further, there's a lot of information on this right away. If you just do a Google search, type his name in, there's a lot of information. Right, but it's kind of a generic outline of what I'm trying to do with these stories, like I did with the last one with the Aryan Brotherhood of Texas, and how I got some really positive feedback, is I'm just trying to find more in-depth, not just surface-level stuff. Sometimes that's all I can bring. Sometimes that's literally all I can find, but I was actually able to, I was doing a lot of research yesterday, got here this morning to my job a couple hours early so I can do this, and I was able to find from the district attorney in the county of Santa Clara the incident report. And this is really that's where I found the picture of the truck. That was not on any news pages, no nothing. It's just more detailed, so we're really going to be reading from that to give you guys a really good idea of exactly what happened. So, yeah, just letting you know how we're going to do this today, because I think it just tells a much more in-depth story and gives you some background on Raymond Calderon and his situation leading up to this tragic event and the murders that took place. So, like I said, June 21st, 2022, excuse me, with the two boys that he picked up from their mother's home. And Raymond Calderon had a few different baby mamas, just so you guys know. So if they're not, his kids aren't just shared with one woman. He's with his grandma, all right? And he had been living with his grandma for some time, but all his belongings were like in a storage shed on the property, on her property outside. And we're going to talk about why that matters here in a few minutes. So they drive to the pool in the grandma's red F-150. Right away, she can tell things are bad, okay? And this is what she tells the police after all this had happened. All right, so she goes on to say how we talked about in the intro. I want you to know I love you. My days are limited. Grandma's going, what the hell is going on? But she knows her grandson. She knows he does drugs. She knows he's involved in gangs. She might try to turn her, kind of turn a blind eye to it, but you can only turn a blind eye to so much. And quickly, things get even worse because he goes, you set me up. When the mom called and wanted the kids back, he's high. He's under the influence. He's tweaking. All right. And he thought the guy at the pool was an undercover cop. As somebody in recovery, somebody who's been around methamphetamine addicts, serious drug addicts like that, paranoia is like the number one symptom. You see the jokes and the memes about meth users, but it's not a joke. At the same time, it's real deal. And when you're dealing with violent gang members or violent individuals towards women, which Raymond Calderon was, it quickly can go from 0 to 10, and it's scary. And if anybody's watching this, we've all have family members, loved ones that are afflicted with drug addiction. If you're a woman listening to this and you've been in a domestic violence situation with somebody who's used meth, comment down below. I want to hear your story. Please comment down below, guys. Or if you're just someone who's a family member of somebody who's a meth addict and you've seen how they get violent and paranoia, comment down below. I want to hear your story. So he quickly jumps up. We're leaving now. Throws them in the truck, says, nah, you're not getting your keys. I'm driving. All right. So after leaving the pool, he drives to that friend's house, Freddie Herrera, who he'd made rap videos with. And Freddie Herrera, we'll get to him. He was a beloved member of the community. I found the pictures off. I think it was his sister or cousin set up a GoFundMe. Pictures with his kids. He's on roller skates. Just looked like a good guy. And basically, according to witnesses, Freddie's a friend of Raymond Calderon. They made rap videos. And on the way to Herrera's home, Calderon calls the mother's kids, suggested that they meet to exchange. And that's when she goes, oh, hell no. She knows who he is. She knows how he is. He's probably beaten on her, abused her for years. And that just agitates him more. And that's when he says, you're not getting your effing kids back. I'm going to effing kill everybody. You effed up. And this is what happens with domestic abusers. And unfortunately, people that are on drugs. Me, when I was an addict, I blamed everybody for my problems, right? It wasn't my own fault. You did this. You don't care. Oh, mom and dad, you don't want nothing to do with me not because I'm a raging heroin addict and I'm stealing everything that's not bolted down. And I'm not hawking everything that's not bolted down. But no, it's other reasons. And that's what Raymond's doing. He's paranoid. He's under the influence. He's got multiple different narcotics in his system. So he's telling her, he was done. He was at the end of his rope. And he says now, and when people get to this point, they just want to hurt the individuals. They want to hurt the mother of their kids, not just physically, but mentally. As bad as what they feel on the inside. They just want to hurt him as bad as they can. And if he can't get to her physically, he's going to get to her mentally. He's going to make her think that her kids might not come back alive. You got to think how she's feeling after that phone call. So Calderon and his 3 captives, which is his grandmother and his 2 kids, they arrive at Herrera's home at around 7 p.m. Okay? So they're going to Freddie Herrera's house. They get there around 7 p.m. Calderon got out of the vehicle, has a brief conversation with Freddie Herrera, which ended with Raymond Calderon asking Herrera to load a basket containing Raymond Calderon's belongings into the back of the F-150. Freddie Herrera says, yeah, okay. And I'm sure Freddie Herrera's kind of uneasy. I'm sure he's kind of looking at his buddy Raymond. He's looking at the grandma, looking at the kids. I'm sure he sees their faces. He's picking up on the agitation of Raymond Calderon. He's picking up on the situation. And I'm sure he's just trying to go, all right, man, hey, no worries. What do you need? I'll do it. Hey, take care of yourself. Yeah, good seeing you. And just praying in the back of his head that Raymond Calderon leaves. Well, he doesn't leave. And after Freddie Herrera retrieves the basket with some of his belongings, loads it in the truck, Calderon pulls out a brownish gold handgun and shoots Herrera 5 times in the chest and the back, killing him instantly. And basically, he did this right in front of his grandma and his 2 boys. And he made them watch from the car. After killing him, Calderon yells, quote, that's what you get, MFer. Raymond Calderon then yelled at his grandmother, quote, this is all your fault. Raymond Calderon jumps back in the F-150, drives his grandmother to her home in San Jose, which is where Raymond Calderon had been staying. Excuse me. On the way there, Raymond Calderon texted, the mother of the kids, suggesting that they meet again to exchange the boys. She once again refuses. Once again at his grandmother's house, Raymond Calderon directed the kids and his grandma inside the home at gunpoint. So imagine this. I mean, he's got his gun on his 2 kids and his grandma. Inside, Raymond Calderon forced her to give him her bank card. He then retrieves a black handgun from the nearby storage shed. That's why I was telling you guys where he kept his belongings. He didn't keep them in the house. He kept them outside. Well, he had a gun out there. Calderon forced his grandma and his 2 boys back into her red F-150 and starts driving to Modesto, California, where Michelle Gonzalez, an ex-girlfriend and mother to one of his children. Now, she's not the mom of the 2 kids in the truck. They share a 6-month-old baby who she has with her at the time all this is going on. All right? During the drive, Calderon told the grandmother, again, quote, this is all your fault. And then he starts pistol whipping her. He starts hitting her in the face with the face in the head with that brownish gold gun that he used to shoot Freddie Herrera. And it was wrapped like in a towel. And he warns her, quote, don't speak until spoken to, B word. While this occurred, the boys sitting in the back of the truck were absolutely terrified. Can you imagine that? They asked their dad, "Why are you doing this to my grandma?" Raymond Calderon responded, "Because she's a B and an effing liar," blaming her for what was happening. Raymond Calderon continued to hit his grandmother in the face and head with the gun for the next several hours. So yeah, picture this, all right? And I know I keep saying picture this, but I really want you to picture this. This isn't a 10-minute drive from grandma's house to Michelle Gonzalez. It's a couple hours to get to Modesto. So picture in a truck, you're these two kids, and your poor grandma, who they probably love more than anything in the world, is getting brutally abused by their father. And again, I'll be honest, they might, like their dad, love their dad, but I have a sneaking suspicion their dad's in and out of jail, all this stuff. They probably didn't think too fondly of him. So I mean, yeah, I'm sure they like their dad, love their dad in a way, depending on, people I know that have been split homes or, dad's in prison. I know multiple people with dads are in prison or girls that have kids and dad's just not around. And sometimes they speak badly of them. I always respect women and families that even though the dad might not be present or the dad's honestly just a lowlife or a drug addict or he's locked up for whatever, I've always respected the ones that still don't speak badly of the kids' father. They'll be honest with them. They'll be truthful with them about, hey, this is what's going on. But I've just always, and I've dated a couple girls with kids that the kids' dad wasn't around. I dated one where the kids' dad is locked up doing some serious time. And my thing I really respected the most out of her was that she never badmouthed him. And what he did, the crimes he committed to get into prison, she never spoke about it. It was when they are old enough to ask, which they will, then he can tell them exactly what he did to get in there. And I just have a level of respect for that and always have. So anyway, they're driving to Modesto. He's beating on his grandma. Kids are freaking out, crying, asking why he's doing this. Once they get to Modesto, he drives straight to his other baby mama's house, Michelle Gonzalez's house. All right. And when they arrive, Raymond Calderon threatened the grandmother again with that handgun, orders her to call Michelle Gonzalez, and says, tell Michelle to come and meet them in the driveway where they were parked in the red F-150. As soon as Michelle Gonzalez comes out of the house, she's pissed. All right. She's like, Raymond, what's the matter? And Raymond Calderon doesn't even hesitate. He says, you fucking lying B-word. Just like my grandma. Calderon then shot Gonzalez once in the face, once in the shoulder, and once in the chest. The bullets penetrated her jaw, spine, lungs, and heart, killing her instantly. Leaving Gonzalez's body in the street, Raymond Calderon drove off at a high rate of speed with his three captives still in the vehicle. He then drove to Oakland, then to San Francisco. Once authorities in Modesto alerted the San Jose Police Department of Michelle Gonzalez's death, San Jose Police Department brought the mother of the kids who he still had captive in for her own safety, because now they're thinking, okay, he's killed this one mom of his kids. He's probably going to kill the grandma. He's probably going to kill the kids he's with. We got to get you out of there. And they are rightly believing all this because they really do think Raymond Calderon's going to kill again. San Jose Police Department and Homicide Unit investigators submitted an emergency application for phone location data to find him. The request gets approved, and around 11:37 p.m., phone location data showed that Calderon was headed southbound on Highway 101 towards San Jose. At 11:46 p.m., San Jose Police Department's helicopter Air 3 identified the red F-150 near the intersection of Highway 101 and Bernal Road and began tracking it. Back in San Jose, Raymond Calderon began driving not back, but to his grandma's husband's home located on Monterey Road while running several stop signs. Raymond Calderon told his grandma that she was going to be, quote, the third one to die tonight. He then ordered grandmother and his two boys in her lap in the front passenger seat. His grandma feared that she was about to die, but then suddenly Raymond Calderon slams on the brakes, pulls over, and kicks the three people out of the car, his two sons and his grandma out of the car. After leaving his grandma and his two boys on the street, at this point now the police, because they got the approval for the emergency phone location, they're on his ass, and they can see the F-150, the helicopter located it. Now he's going on a chase. He leads him on a high-speed chase through the city, driving northbound on Monterey Road. Raymond Calderon crossed under the Blossom Hill Road overpass and then made a right turn northbound onto New Street. Raymond Calderon, he makes a sharp left northbound onto a narrow, dead-end residential street. This is where things get a little crazy. Pointing toward Bendorf Drive. The north end of the residential street was blocked by a wide metal fence. As Calderon approaches the fence, he hops out of the truck without stopping it. You guys got to really picture this as I'm talking about this. The truck continued forward and crashes into the fence, knocking it over. And that's where the picture I showed you of the truck hitting the fence. And obviously he ditches the truck. Raymond Calderon fled on foot northbound through a metal access gate. At that moment, Officer Daniel Araguen was directly behind the F-150 in the patrol vehicle with his lights and sirens activated. Officer Araguen came to an immediate stop. He chases Raymond Calderon on foot through the metal access gate. Quote, Officer Araguen in pursuit is yelling at Calderon to stop. He hopped the southern fence at 180 Bendorf Drive. Officer Araguen's yelling, get on the ground, you're going to, quote, effing get shot. When another officer peeked over one side of the fence at the same location, Raymond Calderon sees him and fires 2 gunshots. Doesn't hit any cops. Officer Araguen took cover and announced, quote, shots fired, and this changes everything. Officers in that San Jose Police Department helicopter that first located the F-150 before he dropped his grandma and his 2 kids off, They watch Calderon. They climbs over the north hedge along the north side of 180 Bendorf Drive. He flees into the yard at 176 Bendorf Drive while holding a gun in his right hand. Raymond Calderon continued northbound, hopping from backyard to backyard to backyard. He's moving. He's desperate. He's moving. Adrenaline's pumping. And he starts trying to get into homes. So he's pounding. He gets to the sliding glass door located kind of by a rear bedroom. And a young lady is in the bedroom. So picture this. Really, please picture this. You're in your bedroom. You're doing whatever, watching TV, getting changed, whatever. And all of a sudden, here's this gang member, fully tatted head to toe with the gun, sweating, mad, high on meth. And he's banging on the door to let him inside. She freezes, but then she snaps out of it, gets mad, and she flees to the front of the residence. Unable to get inside the home. Oh, and by the way, he was pointing a gun at her. Inside that home, Calderon continued, so he couldn't get in. So he continues northbound until he reached a shed located in the back of 164 Bendorf Drive. And that's where he holds up in the shelter, and that's where you see a lot of the news clips, all right? And this begins that hours-long standoff with police, okay? San Jose Police Department immediately evacuate all the nearby residents, called the Mobile Emergency Response Group and Equipment Unit onto the scene. Over the next 6 hours, they make repeated attempts to get Raymond Calderon to surrender. Police repeatedly call his personal cell phone. They try to attempt to negotiate. And as this is going on, they're just bringing in armored cars. It's called a Bearcat. Dude, heavy duty. I put a picture up of it. There's 2 of them. They look like straight up, basically just like an armored tank, something you'd want in like the zombie apocalypse rolling downtown. One's facing northbound, one's facing southbound, and this is now headquarters. San Jose Police Department also made multiple announcements using the PA system installed in the Bearcats to try to get them to surrender. Officer Edward Carboni took a position in the turret atop Bearcat 2 with his M4 carbine tactical rifle. He's a sniper. In need of an additional sniper, the San Jose Police Department called Lieutenant Robert Lang, a former MERGE member, which is like these are just, all these police departments, these are the SWAT tactical. They are trained for these exact situations, all right? And their firepower is a whole nother level. They don't got little 9mm or Glock 40s. Now they're talking M4 snipers, the heavy duty, the heavy duty. He takes a position in the top of the first Bearcat with his HSC-15 tactical rifle. So, all these cops, all these SWATs, now Raymond Calderon's surrounded, all right? And he's paranoid. He's high. He probably might be coming down at this point. Things might be setting in a little bit. He's abused his grandma to the point where her face is black and blue. He murdered the mom of one of his kids. He murdered a close friend who he had made rap videos with. And now he's just holed up in this little shed. And you can see in the one video, he's got his little handgun and he's firing multiple shots at San Jose Police Department officers and their drones. And then at approximately 7:19 a.m. the following day, Raymond Calderon emerges from the shed after police deployed tear gas. And you see that in the video. And they're watching off a camera because they have these robot surveillance and all this stuff. He starts running out. He's got the gun in his right hand. He exits the shed, and he starts running along the side of the house at 164 Bendorf Drive. About halfway down the side of the house, Calderon stopped and started banging on the sliding glass door. Again, a moment later, Calderon continued running down the side of the home toward the front yard, facing Bearcat 1. Lieutenant Lang was atop of the turret of Bearcat 1 with his rifle aimed directly at Calderon. The sun was coming up behind Lieutenant Lang, silhouetting him in Calderon's view. Calderon raised his 9mm handgun, aimed it directly at Lieutenant Lang. Lieutenant Lang, fearing for his life, fired a single bullet at Calderon, striking him in the chest. Officer Carboni, who, remember, he's in the other Bearcat, also sees Raymond Calderon point his gun at Lieutenant Lang. Believing that he was in fear for Officer Lang's life, Officer Carboni fired his tactical rifle at Raymond Calderon, hitting him in the head. And at that point, Raymond Calderon was dead. And after those shots, Raymond Calderon basically crumples to the ground. No further shots are fired. They deploy 3 flashbang distraction grenades. You can hear those on the footage. And, then they got to notify the supervisors, all that. But I'll be honest, a life being taken is a life being taken, and that's sad. But Raymond Calderon, this is one of those where I get mad when I read some of this stuff. When I get mad that you pistol whipped your grandma, you shoot the mother of your children, no matter how bad. And don't get me wrong, women in domestic situations, women when you have baby mamas, when you have all this stuff, they can make guys' lives a living hell, just like guys can make these women's lives a living hell. It goes both ways. But in this case, Raymond Calderon, these women, you could tell that one that initially called the pool, the mom of the kids that were in the pool, she's terrified of him. Because you got a picture. She's so scared for her kids' lives, right? But she's still not willing to even meet with him without police being present because she knows there's a good chance he'll try to kill her. It's just sad, just tragic. And obviously, Michelle Gonzalez, she leaves behind the 6-month-old baby boy she shared with Raymond Calderon, but she also had a 9-year-old daughter. And the outpouring of love was all over the place. It came from all directions. These people, Herrera and Gonzalez were 2 individuals that were very, very loved. Freddie Herrera and Michelle Gonzalez, R.I.P. to them. Last thing we're going to talk about, the toxicology report comes back on Raymond Calderon. Toxicology report, for those of you who don't know, basically says we'll give police an idea, the courts an idea of drugs or alcohol that were in the system, right? Try to explain this, okay? What caused them to act like this? And sure enough, a toxicology analysis showed that Raymond Calderon's blood contained marijuana, cocaine, methamphetamine, and amphetamine. So he was blown out of his mind. And, that's the end of the story. But really quick, guys, this time of year, like we talked about in the last video, it is so important to check on the people that you love and care about. If you think somebody's struggling, please check on them. As a longtime drug user, I spent many a nights, especially around the holiday season, alone, broke. I'll never forget a few Christmases ago, I'm going on 5 years sober. I remember showing up to Christmas out of my mind, and my mom and dad just looking at me, my ex just looking at me, and I remember they basically put me in a room to go to bed. I spent Thanksgiving of 2018 in jail, making top ramen with cheese, cut up a sausage, and with some sliced up pickles and some egg, and I wrapped them up in burritos, watching football, trying to make the best of that situation. got the phone call from the family who were at my dad's sister's house, and I remember Mom couldn't help it. She starts bawling. You know, my point to all this, take care of yourselves. Get the help you need. You see somebody like a Raymond Calderon, long-term drug abuse. He'd had 2 felony domestic violences, and that's different. Then I guess I'm trying to separate the two. The dude was a woman beater. With or without drugs, the dude beat women. He's horrible, not a good person at all. I'm not blaming the drugs for all of it at all. The dude had serious issues. It said overall he had 6 incidents of domestic violence, 2 of them felonies, other violent charges. He's an active Norteno gang member. You know, dude was a bad dude all around. It wasn't just the meth, but I'm just telling you guys, especially around this time of year, to check on the people you love, check on the people you care about. If you are struggling, I always end these videos, if you are struggling, please reach out. Comment down below. Tell me your story. Reach out to people that you think. I'm telling you guys, this time of year is when people really, really struggle with their mental health. I cannot reiterate that enough. There are people on Thanksgiving morning, and I have done it, and I'm sure some of you guys have too. If you've ever been in trouble, if you've ever struggled with addiction, you've probably spent holidays in detox facilities, in jails, in rehabs. I've spent Christmas of 2016 in a detox, Thanksgiving of 2018 in jail. That one Christmas is in 2020 or 2019, blacked out from Xanax and heroin in a bed in the back room of my parents' house. I mean, been there. I've done that. I really, really have been there. And, you know, these tragic stories that you see, it seems like drugs are linked to all of them. Damn near all of them. You know, these gang members that you see, they're using drugs. White gangs, black gangs, Hispanic gangs, it doesn't matter. They're using drugs. In prison, out of prison, it doesn't matter. Yeah. And the last thing I'm going to say for anybody who's been afflicted by domestic violence, whether you're listening to this and you're in that kind of a situation, get out. Because I've talked to so many women, friends, girls and guys, or girls that I've dated, and it's always the same thing. It's always, oh, he would never kill me. Oh, he would never lay a hand on me. Oh, it will happen. I'm telling you, Michelle Gonzalez did not think she was going to die that day. Michelle Gonzalez, when Raymond Calderon pulled up in her driveway, did not think she was going to die that day until it happens. The National Domestic Violence Hotline, 1-800-799-7233. It is 24/7, 365. They can also link you to local resources in your hometown where you live. Get out. And that goes for guys too. If you're in a situation where you're with a woman who's violent or who's got a serious drug problem or she's just very mentally unstable, guys, get your kids, get out. Reach out to the right people. Offer them help, but if they don't want it, get out. So I know I'm kind of bouncing around, but at the end of the day, get the help you need with drugs and alcohol. Get the help you need if you're in a domestic violence situation, and check on the people you love during the holidays, because this is the time for when really depression and sadness will kick in. So anyway, much love, much appreciation. Thank you guys for checking out the channel. Have a happy Thanksgiving. You already know what it is. Peace.